Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. We're just getting ready to start our seventh episode of the Elvis Diner, so we're just going to wait for some folks to join and we'll get started. It looks like we got some folks on here, so if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, great. Hey, we just want to spend a little bit of time this evening kind of checking back in with you guys. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, and to be honest with you, I miss doing them. I love coming on here and just talking Elvis, and we want it to be a two-way conversation, so please ask any questions, bring up any topics that you like. That's why we kind of set this up about a year ago, was to just come to a place where everybody could talk Elvis. So if you've got any news, if you want to talk about Elvis Week coming up in August, we can do that. Anything that's on your mind. I do want to say that I was just telling Michael that I see where Billy Smith is in bad health right now. So we'll lift up our prayers to the Smith family and hope that he gets well soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I just put on there, feel free to ask some questions if you guys have any or some comments. For those of you that haven't watched one of our diners before, this is just a way for us. We do about once a month. This is just a way for us to, kind of talk Elvis with everyone around the world and kind of have a little community going on. So you guys can leave questions or comments. We'll try to answer the questions as soon as we can. And just a place to talk Elvis.
I see Paul's on there, and we see Susan on there. Thank you guys for taking time out of your evening. I'll get started while you guys are still joining us. One of the main topics that I want to talk about tonight is, for those of you especially that follow us on Instagram, I come up with different series, if you will. Anybody that knows me knows that my brain, he will tell you, my brain never stops. It's always in motion about something. And I just have been thinking for, I don't know, probably about 3 or 4 months that I'd really like to do a series on songs that, it's kind of funny because when I started doing it, I didn't want it to come across as rare songs. What I was trying to capture for the Instagram crowd is songs that, as Elvis fan, I guess what I'm trying to say is Elvis fans, a lot of times I'm certain that because it's been so many years since he passed away, that we have to kind of explain sometimes, as an Elvis fan, where people that don't really know his body of work. I've had people say that to me over the years, people that I work with, friends that I've known over the years. It's happened most of my life where people go, oh, he's just known for Hound Dog. He's just known for Jailhouse Rock. That was back in the 50s. And I go, you guys are missing something, so let me play a few songs for you. I'll even make a CD for you and let you hear some songs like Bridge Over Troubled Water and, songs like that, Just Pretend, things like that, where it's a really, We Can Make the Morning, where it's a really vocal song. And then you throw in some of the, the more, Poke Salad Annie and stuff like that. And then people go, what? I didn't even know this guy did this kind of stuff. So it's been on my mind. And I said, wasn't long ago that a friend at work, did this very same thing where they go, what was he known for other than Hound Dog? And I'm like, where do you pay attention to anything? I mean, if you've got to ask me that, I mean, not only is the number one selling artist of all time, that nobody will ever catch the guy. The other part of that is when you introduce Elvis to somebody, you're not only introducing a guy with incredible voice, incredible talent, but you're also introducing somebody who, expands on so many different levels. Like you're introducing them to someone who was such a humanitarian, such a generous guy. And when they get in there and they get past the music and they see what a down to earth guy he was, and when they see what a humanitarian he was, they become fans. So that's the idea behind my new series that I'm doing. I did a post yesterday, and then I did one today. So please, tell your friends to go on the Instagram there and check out our site and look at the songs that I'm going to be posting. And again, they're not rare. I'm not trying to come up with rare songs. I'm trying to give songs that, and I'm not only giving the heavy vocal stuff. I'm going to try to run full spectrum on that, but I'm going to try to do the lesser known songs where people hear it and they go, like I did a post, what was it, a couple months ago on a couple songs, and people said, been a fan for 30, 40 years, never heard that song. Mm-hmm. So that's the purpose of this, and I just want to kind of share it with you. So please, please, please go on there and follow the post. It's going to last for a while because I got a lot of songs picked out. So
yeah, people seem to really be enjoying it because you've only been doing it for a couple of days, but I mean, we've gotten a really good amount of feedback from those posts. So yeah, people seem to really like it.
And I tell you, I appreciate, as he does as well, the feedback just means so much. Anybody that runs one of these pages or runs a YouTube channel or anything like that, the feedback just goes a long way for us. It really makes you feel good when you've nailed something and you're it means something to the people that you're trying to reach.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Douglas's comment. He's asking if there is a way to verify Elvis exhibits. We don't have the ability to do that, but I can reference you to or refer you to some guys that I know that are really good at that. Lindell Morris and Steven Schutz. You can reach out to both of them on Facebook. I know Lindell runs a Facebook page authenticating Elvis artifacts, I believe. But yeah, if you reach out to Lindell Morris or Steven Schutz, those are both really, really good guys. They know their stuff and they do a lot of authenticating of memorabilia. So I'd recommend those guys.
Yeah, we do. We collect a lot of tour memorabilia and concert memorabilia, and you got to be very, very careful with that stuff because, man, we do like the tickets, and you got to be really careful with that stuff because they can take a ticket and basically reproduce it, rip it, and then soak the thing in tea for a couple of days and pull it back out, and it looks like it's 50 years old. So just be careful.
Somebody's asking, have we met Elvis's cousin Billy or his son Danny? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've met both of them. During Elvis Week, you have a good chance of running into them at Marlowe's. I think that's where we've run into them majority of the time was at Marlowe's. Very nice people. I know Billy's wife. I can't remember her name, but they're both really nice. So yeah, if you go down to Memphis during Elvis Week, you'll have a good chance of running into them at Marlowe's Barbecue. Right. Let's see. Met a 17-year-old last week who discovered Devil in Disguise and since bought her first Elvis CD. Nice.
Yeah, see, that's the way it works. This is basically the point that I'm trying to make with regards to the posts that we're doing is, just your friends that are close by, just introduce them to the whole package. And then once they get into the music, then you can start saying, hey, did you realize that, the guy did the first ever satellite concert that ever taken place and how many people it was seen by. And then you can get into the whole, if you're a veteran, you can get into the whole thing that, hey, that he went into the Army, served his time. That I've talked to a lot of guys that were in the Army that really has meant a lot to them, that he didn't, shrug his duties and say, hey, look, I'm a superstar, I can't go do that. And I think he even said in a press conference, that he was asked how he was treated. He said, I'm treated great. He said, because the guys kind of looked around and saw that I was doing everything they were doing. So, I was accepted well. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Jo is Billy's wife. So thank you for correcting me. Yeah, we met both of them down there at Elvis Week, and they're both very, very nice. So Elvis Week schedule 2024 was just released a couple days ago. I didn't know if you guys have seen that yet, comment below if you guys are planning on going to Elvis Week this year. We are planning to go there again. I think it'd be our third year in a row. I think out of the last like 7 years, we've been to like 4 Elvis
Yeah, we're on a
weeks.
streak right now.
Yeah, something like that.
We've been down there many times. Somebody asked me the other day how many times I've been to Memphis, and I know that we were down there before Elvis passed, and since then I never really counted, and then it's kind of like we were down there in the '80s. You wouldn't have been there for that, but we were down there in the '80s, and that was fun because it was more like I've said on here before. It was more like it was when Elvis, was a lot, obviously because it's closer to that time, and the trees were. You did a post about my mom the other day, and if you look at that picture where the picture was taken of her, that was in the '70s, and you don't see. And then I take the same picture in the exact same spot, and in her picture, you don't see any of the trees behind the gates. You don't, they're small. And then now, when you took the one of me, it's all closed in. So lots changed.
Somebody's asking if we plan on going to Eugene, Oregon. Yeah, we are planning on going there eventually. Pretty much the West Coast and Hawaii is what we have left. Elvis was in 130 cities in the '70s, and we've been to over 100.
Yeah, over 100
and some change.
And that will be those for those of you that are new to our YouTube, the videos that we do. We used to do, we would do a building at a time, and then we got it to where we were doing like a tour. And then like when we went to Texas, we were on the road for 10 days to cover Texas. And then, we just kind of did like he did, we were just on a tour where we just went from city to city to city to city. And, but we're going to have to do that again when we go out on the West Coast, because we want to try to knock out as much of that as we can.
Yeah, somebody's asking if we've been to Champaign. We have been there. Yeah, pretty much everything
except the West Coast.
Yeah, we've been to Vegas, so pretty much everything east of Vegas, north and south, we've been to everywhere in between.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, we've been doing this for many years, visiting these buildings, but we didn't start making videos about our tours until 2020. Because that was our COVID activity while we were all stuck at home. So we had been doing it years prior, but we didn't start doing videos till 2020. And so a lot of these buildings that we have been to, we just have a few photos and, a couple of videos inside. And it's not enough to make, a long, lengthy video like the ones you see on our YouTube channel. Some of them, we have enough to make like a mini video. So if you go back, maybe like a year or two, you'll see big drop of videos on our channel where it's like mini video. That's what that is. It's those buildings that we had been to where we were able to make just a short little video to show like what the inside looked like and all that. So a lot of buildings that we've been to across the country we've been to, but we haven't made a video on that. So that's what the situation is with a lot of those.
Somebody just asked a pretty cool question, and hey, thanks for when you guys pitch in, because again, we can't stress enough. That's why we set this thing up, so that we can just come and talk to Elvis, and you have just as much, we desire you guys to talk just as much as we want to talk. So please ask the questions. But somebody asked a pretty cool question there, said if you could have asked Elvis to record a song in 1977, what would it have been? Man, that's a tough one. That's like saying your favorite Elvis song. That's a great question, and usually a great question is one that you have trouble answering because you don't know. But man, there are so many songs that I hear, today. Not so much of today's music, but there's songs that I hear by other artists from years past where I go, man, what could he have done with that song? Because as we all know, like with a lot of the songs that Elvis recorded, like the artist that did it, Elvis then took it, made it his own, and just made it an incredible song that I don't think the original guy did, you know?
I mean, if you gave me time to think about it, my answer would probably be different. But I know one song that people make a big deal about that he didn't record was Dolly Parton's "I'll Always Love You,"
Hmm.
and you can see interviews with her talking about that, where she was asked or told that Elvis was going to be recording "I'll Always Love You," and the night before he was supposed to record that song. I'm not sure exactly what year that was supposed to happen, but I think the Colonel was like, for him to record this, we need half the publishing rights.
Yeah.
And she said that that was her biggest song and that she couldn't do that. And she said when it was decided that he wouldn't record it, she cried for a day. And I've always thought, if you listen to that song and then, imagine Elvis singing it, I wonder how that would have come about. But like if I had more time to think about it, my answer might be different. But off the top of my head, I think that would have been a really good song for him to do.
I think for me, uh, it's always depressed me after having heard Fire Down Below.
Mhm.
They laid down the tracks for that,
Mhm.
the instrumental, and that is a cool song to listen to. And so to answer that question, my answer is going to, I mean, there's going to be many, but I would say that's the one that disappointed me the most, that he didn't get a chance to lay down the vocals on that song, because that was a rocking song, man. It really was. A song that it's kind of funny because I was such a big fan of Way Down, still am. I think that's a cool song. And that time, when you talk about a rocking song, like if you compare it to some of the rock songs that are out there today, uh, probably doesn't compare to what some people think is a rocker. But
Mhm.
man, I remember Way Down when it came out, and I went out and got that record, and that was my favorite record, and not of all time of Elvis, but I just love that song. Anybody else like that? Way Down.
Yeah, usually whenever I go through Graceland on like the tour, I bring my earbuds and I'll stand in the jungle room and I'll pull up one of those songs. It's usually like the outtake version of the song where you can hear them like chit chatting, and I just like go back to when they recorded those songs in that room, and I'm like, it's something cool if you guys haven't done that before. Maybe on your next trip through Graceland, bring your earbuds and listen to some of the songs that were recorded in the jungle room. How about you guys? What are some songs, while we look through here, what are some songs that you guys think that might have been a good song for Elvis to record?
I want to go back while they're chiming in on that. I want to go back to let's see, Rick. That was a great thing about Rick said Jim Croce songs. I mean, Jim Croce, man, that guy, I've got a lot of him on my playlist. For Spotify.
Mhm.
And man, what a great talent that guy was. What a loss that guy was. But yeah, just you could just go through the whole realm of music and just pick out those big guys like Jim Croce and people like that, and just imagine some of those songs. And I'll say this, because we're big concert people. That's what we do. We love the touring years, and I will say, and this is really another reason that I started that whole series, is that I wish, and Elvis had kind of voiced his opinion on this, and it was kind of shot down. But when he was touring in the '70s, he wanted to slide the teddy bear and the Don't Be Cruel. He wanted to slide that stuff off the boards,
Mhm.
and just really not do it. And the Colonel said, "That's how you got your start, and you're going to do it." So I wish over the years that when you listen to those live albums, when you're hearing that run through of Teddy Bear and Don't Be Cruel, and this is not stepping on anybody, because I said in the post yesterday, I said, those songs, Jailhouse Rock, all that, they have their place, because that was Elvis's bedrock for his foundation for his career. But it's a shame that when you went to see him in concert, that those songs couldn't have been replaced with other songs, like Rick said there, Jim Croce song that was popular in the day, or whomever that you can think of that you like. It's just a shame that he wasn't doing more of that.
Yeah. Somebody asked, let me see here. Somebody asked, what are some venues that we can think of that would have been, interesting and feasible for Elvis to perform in overseas? I mean, we can't, I don't know specific arenas
Right.
overseas, but I know, countries wise speaking, Europe and a lot of countries in Europe and Japan, they were like,
Asia was
we were like,
crazy.
we want Elvis to come here. We
Yeah.
will pay you a lot of money to come here, but we all know why he didn't go overseas. But I can only imagine, like, what him and the band and the crew would have been like if he came and was like, "Yep, we're doing a tour in Europe, something new."
That's the biggest for me. That's one of the biggest heartbreaks
Mhm.
of that man's career. That was blown away. It just blown apart. It just didn't get to happen, and that's sad. I mean, he loved his country. He loved performing here in the States, and we've been over this conversation about a gazillion times with regards to, why did he perform in these buildings? We know the answers to those questions because we've talked to the people that were in charge of setting these tours up, and we've talked to, guys that worked, as his bodyguards and things like that. We know those answers, and then we know a lot of the answers from just common sense. I mean, I remember, like people say sometimes, why did he stay in a certain hotel when he could have stayed? Why did he stay at a Holiday Inn in Johnson City? I'm just using this as an example, but why did he stay in a Holiday Inn in Johnson City, Tennessee?
Mhm.
Well, for those of you on here that are as old as I am, if you remember back when you were a kid and you were on vacation, there wasn't a hotel in every single city, on every single street corner in every single city. I remember, you didn't have the internet, so you had to drive to look when you're on vacation, you had to drive to look for a hotel that you were going to stay in. And it wasn't, you go through a city and there's 20 different hotels there. So I think those are the things because of where we're at now with technology and all the choices that we have, everything. You didn't have those choices back then.
Mhm. Somebody's asking if we've been to Nassau Coliseum. They're about to demolish it. Yeah, we have been to Nassau. We were there maybe like 2018, I think, and we stayed at the hotel. That was like it was like a couple hundred yards from the Coliseum. But yeah, what's interesting about that is when we were there, like I said, I think it was 2018 that maybe 2017, 2018. When we were there, they were actually renovating the
Yeah.
Coliseum.
So they're already, if you can chime in on that one more time, so they just, I mean, they were doing a massive amount of work to that
Yeah,
building. And you're saying now it's going down.
because when we were there, we all the doors were open, but there are these big like tubes coming out of the doors that were like pushing all the
Debris, or not debris,
like
but
asbestos.
dust and stuff like
Yeah.
that, getting it out of the building.
Yeah, but I did see because I just looked it
Wow.
up. It looks like a lot of the teams that are there are leaving. So yeah, if anybody knows, I'm sure if we looked it up, we can find something. But yeah, we have been there. Haven't done it. Well, we actually didn't go inside, obviously, because they were doing renovation on it. But we have been to the outside.
And that's, we talk about this all the time when we're just talking about what we do, and it's really moving for us when we look back at. I remember as a kid, I'll never forget when I watched the CBS special with my mom on TV when we saw it come on, and I remember saying, that concert is taking place or was taking place so far away from where we live. We live in Virginia. And I was like, that is so far away. And I kind of remember, I don't remember exact thoughts, but I kind of remember thinking, I'll never get to see that. I'll never get to, and, for us to have gone out there and document that building and walk those halls and stand in that room where he was backstage. That really is moving to us. We've walked in his footsteps in so many different buildings, been backstage in the same dressing room. Some of them, like in Mobile, they haven't changed at all. It's the same woodwork and trim and vents in the walls, and just it's all the same. And that's pretty moving, and that part really means a lot to us because we've covered a lot of ground and we've been to a lot of the buildings that he walked in.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So somebody's asking about how some other artists and bands were able to do worldwide tours, but Elvis never did. So pretty much the reason that he didn't go overseas was because the Colonel he was in this country illegally, but nobody knew that, and so he was afraid that if they went overseas, that would be discovered, and he wouldn't be able to come back to the United States. And then Elvis would be out of manager and all that stuff. So that was the reason why Elvis never went overseas. But I don't know how accurate the scene in the Elvis movie was where he was telling Elvis that it was a security issue. That might have been what he was telling Elvis. I don't know. But that was what was happening, was the fact that, he didn't want to go overseas because he was afraid that they'd find out and he wouldn't be able to come back over. And nobody found that out until after Elvis died, years after Elvis died. They didn't find out till years later.
You know who did get to go overseas? The author of a book that we have right over there, Paul Sweeney, is in Copenhagen.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he searched all day today for a decaffeinated cup of coffee. Couldn't find one. So I'll say to you, Paul, when you watch this, you'll see that I'm having my coffee.
And I actually, speaking of Paul Sweeney, if you guys don't know,
And it's not decaffeinated.
I don't know. It's One Night. It's a book on Elvis in Canada. I just saw on Facebook a couple weeks ago that that book finally sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So
as it should. That was and I'm not just saying this because he's a friend of ours, but that was a phenomenal body of work. I mean, the pictures in that book and the quality, and not only the quality of what he did with the pictures and all that, but I put a lot into the when we buy stuff for our collection, I put a lot into the how it's made. Is it sturdy? Because a lot of these books, like they're doing, like we did the Elvis on Tour, it's right there, the three book set. Mm-hmm. That thing, I thought I was going to need a hand truck to get the thing in the house. And that book, the company that did that book did incredible craftsmanship on that. So.
Yeah, we actually interviewed one of the authors. It was an Instagram live that we did, maybe like in 2021. And he was explaining how a lot of the photos in that Elvis on Tour 3 book set, he was going to an estate sale or yard sale, and he walked in the house and there was boxes from floor to ceiling that were labeled Elvis. And he looked in it and it was film, photos, negatives, all of that from 1972 that had never been seen before. And so he went to the bank or went home, got a bunch of cash, went back and bought all of it. And so a lot of that is what's included in that Elvis on Tour 3 book set. And actually, I think last year, I forget exactly when, but they came out with another book about Elvis in 1972. And the author contacted me and was asking, about if we could help them find where certain locations were in Elvis on Tour, because they, cut it up so many times that it went from city to city without really telling. And because he had seen that our first Elvis Diner episode was us showing a lot of scenes and telling you guys where they were, because some people were like, oh, this was in this city. Well, it was actually in a different city. So in the book that they came out with, I think last year, I forget what the title is, we were actually listed in the acknowledgments for helping them. So that was a really cool experience to have our name in one of those books. We actually probably need to get that because it's our first book that we've been listed in.
Yeah. David up there makes a point about the other point. We made the one point about the Colonel. The other point was that, Elvis goes out, and then how does he get those, the medications back in the States? Because they're checking that stuff. Guns too. Those guys carried a lot of guns. Mm-hmm. And those are things that, they were all part of. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't. I think Paul said, it's like a smoke screen. I mean, that's everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there. All those are valid reasons. I'm not disagreeing with any of them. But again, I always try to stay away from. We kind of report what we've heard, what we've what we've been told, what we know, to sort of be fact. And
Mhm.
those are two very valid points. I mean, yeah, it's if you got, back in those days, if you're trying to bring medications, drugs, if you will, back into the states, you're going to get in trouble, and that wouldn't have looked good. So that's a very valid point. As far as as far as it being a smokescreen with the colonel, I don't know. I mean, I've always been told that he didn't have the proper paperwork to be here legally. So I think it's a valid point that if he went out, he wasn't going to get back. So
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, for those of you just joining, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to just drop them in the comment section. This is just a place for us to have discussion on Elvis, anything Elvis. So please feel free to um, be a part of it, be a part of the
Right.
discussion. Yeah, so going back to Elvis Week, is anybody planning on going to Elvis Week 2024? Like we said, we are. I can see on the schedule here on Greystone's website as of now, we got Linda Thompson and Sam Thompson both going to be there. Joe Esposito's girlfriend from 7477. And somebody that we haven't seen down there before, at least we haven't, is Drum Stump Monroe, who was a drummer for the Sweet Inspiration. So he was part of like the opening act for Elvis with the Sweet Inspirations. We're gonna have Larry Geller, Elvis's hairstylist, and they're going to be the Jordanaires are going to be inducted into the Graceland Legends. So that'll be cool. We were there for when the TCB rhythm section was inducted, and so we got to see Ronnie Tutt, James Burton, and Glenn Harding all sign the wall. So that was really cool. And I also saw Gene Chrisman. I heard that on Elvis Radio this morning. Gene Chrisman, he was a drummer for the Memphis Boys, Suspicious Minds, and all those recordings. He'll be there this year. And that says that there's going to be more guest announcements coming soon. So we'll try to keep you guys updated on that. If anybody plans on going to Memphis, hopefully we'll see you there. Yes, somebody was saying that there's a monument of the fight scene in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, we've been there.
We've been there. We have a video on Madison, Wisconsin, on that Coliseum, and that is we add that into the video so you guys can see the history and what happened there. I actually heard, it's actually kind of funny. I heard on Elvis Radio a couple days ago, they were doing like the Elvis sightings, and the guy that was writing in about the monument or the little plaque was saying that it was the concert. He said that he was heading to the concert and it was in June 24th, 1973.
Wrong.
Yeah. People get dates wrong, but like as soon as he said that, because I knew that it was 77, because he was like, yeah, he just performed in Des Moines the night before. And, we're really good on facts because of all the places we go, but I just was like, it was 77, not 73. But still cool that somebody would mention that, bring it up on Elvis Radio, because that was an interesting interaction that they had. So if you guys check out our Madison, Wisconsin video, we'll add that in there.
Sandy brings up a good point about the meds that they were prescribed. Again, and that we're not trying to be difficult here. I don't know, and we always try to make it a point to stay away from stuff that we will expand on things where we've been told by people that work for him. We've never had a conversation really. To be honest with you, I never really wanted to have a conversation with anybody about some of that stuff, because it's just, to me, with what we do, it's pointless. That was a long time ago. I don't know. I don't. What I do know is that Elvis never went out of the States. Elvis never toured there. So what difference does it make? Yeah, we can, beat people up about it. It never happened. So, we got to kind of let that lie. Yeah. Does it make me mad? Sure. As it does, I'm sure, all of you, but what's the sense in holding on to that? It never happened. And most of these people now are gone, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody was probably will go to Memphis for the last few days of Tribute Week. It only is a 7-hour drive for me, so why not? Yeah, we usually go on the last half, like the second half of the week, because we like to go to a lot of like the discussions and everything that they do. So yeah, we usually go like the second half.
And please look for us down there. Catch us on Instagram, and we usually we go to Marlowe's. I think we go to Marlowe's like every night, right? And then we go to Coletta's.
Yeah.
If you go to Memphis, if you've never been to Memphis, you can go to Coletta's, and that is some of the best pizza, barbecue pizza.
Yeah.
If you've never had barbecue pizza,
You can meet Mr. Coletta.
and you can meet Mr. Coletta. That has been a family-owned business. Now they're in 101 years now, right? Because their last year was 100 years.
We did a
And Elvis ate there.
yeah,
Actually ate there.
we did a video on Coletta's. It was kind of cool because the man that we're speaking of, Mr. Coletta, he is like a second or third generation owner of Coletta's, and we were sitting there talking to him while we were eating lunch, and I set my phone on the table and hit record. And so that's pretty much the whole interview, was just him talking about his interaction with Elvis, and how Priscilla would come down there quite often and pick up food for the guys to take back to Graceland. So a lot of the guys in Elvis's circle were big fans of Coletta's, as was Elvis. So with Elvis Week, last year I was planning on making a video like the guide to Elvis Week, and it was going to be, places to go, people to see, places to eat and everything. But when I came up with the idea, it was too close to Elvis Week for people to like use that information to their advantage. So I am planning on putting out a video of tips for Elvis Week, things to bring and all that stuff. So once we get closer to Elvis Week, I'll put that out for those of you that are going.
And when we say that, we want to make sure that you guys understand this, that we never, anybody that knows us will tell you, we do not ever come across that. We don't want to come across as know-it-alls. We are, act like we are the gatekeeper of all Elvis info. That's not it. We make mistakes, but we're honest enough to come back and say, hey, we made a mistake on that. We're sorry. We'll correct it. We can miss. Usually, we don't miss a date really on the tour stuff because that's what we do. We don't usually make a mistake on the venue or stuff like that. But when we do, for those of you that don't know us, we're strong enough to come back and say, we're sorry. So.
Somebody was saying, I wish Stella Brown participated in Elvis Week. She did in 2019. They did one of those concerts where it was her, James Burton, Glenn Hardy, and Ronnie Tuttle on stage playing to Elvis on the big screen. We got to meet her in Memphis, and then we actually got to go to her home, and we did a tour of Hearst Coliseum and all that. So that's a 2-part video where we do the Hearst Coliseum with her, and we talk about it. And then the second part, which I think actually was the first video to be uploaded, so it was first part, was just the history of the building. So be sure to check both of those out.
Yeah, we consider her a very good friend. I will text her from time to time and just check on her. And she's the last time that I checked on her, she's doing well. It is a shame that some of these folks, for whatever reason, I don't know the reason, but that they don't go. I don't know which end that's on. Maybe she's just not feeling up to it now or what. But it's a shame.
Somebody's saying they ordered a print from Keith Alverson after seeing our segment with him. Did we do a segment with him?
We didn't do a segment. I think they're talking about George Hill.
Well, we've mentioned Keith before.
Right.
We have 2 prints. So the one right behind my head, which you can't really see, and then the one behind his head on the right are both Keith Alverson. If you go back to one of our other Elvis Diner videos, you'll see that. We have a new camera, so it's a little closer and not as wide. And then this one right here is a George Hill photo from Bloomington, June 74. So yeah, George and Keith, amazing photographers. If you haven't seen our video of us in Mobile with George, that's a 2-part video. Definitely check those out. That was a great experience. Very, very nice. It was just really cool.
I talk about a guy that's really become a good friend of ours. That what a top class guy. I mean, we're friends with both of them, but they're just, and I'll say this about both of them, they're just top class guys. Both of those guys are as friendly as you can get and just as welcoming, and have always treated us very nice. And we can't say enough about them. So please make sure that if you see any of these photos behind us, we're always going to give a shout out to both Keith and to George about their photos.
Mhm.
Because again, I'm going to say this one more time about what they did. When we spent the day with George the last time, we kind of he estimated about 7,000 pictures that he took. And if you just take that alone and you wipe that away, and we don't have the 7,000 pictures, of course, he wasn't the only guy that ever took pictures of Elvis on tour. There were a lot of people that did.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remove that 7,000, that's 7,000 more that you don't get to see. So we owe those guys that were pushing those buttons on those cameras, we owe them a great debt of gratitude, because that's what we're seeing. I mean, that's what's in this room. I mean, if without them, we don't have that.
Yeah, I've been collecting a lot of George Hill's photos, and we got to meet him for the first time in Memphis last year, and we've kept in contact regularly. I don't know. Last year's Elvis Week was his first Elvis Weeks in like 20 years, I think. I'll have to ask him if he's planning on doing it this year. Not sure if he is or not. But we also have both of Keith Alverson's books. I will say, not really an exclusive thing for us to tell you, but Keith did tell us that he only has like 2 copies of his first book left. So if you guys want his first photo book, contact him on Facebook, Keith Alverson, and just let him know that you want it so you can get it, because he said once they're sold out, they're sold out. And then you're just going to have to buy them off eBay, and people are going to jack the prices up.
And again, anytime that we do, we will always give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to a few folks that have supported us over the years. But anytime we give a shout out, I can guarantee you this: we are not monetized on our YouTube channel. We're not monetized in anything that we do. We don't receive money from outside folks. So the point that I'm trying to make is when we give a shout out, it's from the heart, and it's for the people that are doing whatever it is that they do. And these guys have spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, in a good portion of their lives. I mean, they followed Elvis around on tour for many years and took these pictures. And that's why we give the shout out, because they're not, there's no kickback involved. We don't get anything for free or anything like that. It's out of gratitude for the friendship that we have with them. So that's that.
All right. So for those of you that are interested in getting Keith's first or second book, like I said, the first one is almost sold out. I just put a comment in the comment section with his email. So if you guys, I think he has a public Facebook page, but if you guys can't get on there, that is his email. Reach out to him, get that first book before it's gone and the price goes up.
And for both of these guys, remember, you can also get just individual, that they'll work with you on individual pictures.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see if we can catch up on some of these comments. All right.
Hey, there's one right there from Rick I wanted to touch on. I'm loving this tonight because this is why we are doing what we do, because we're getting all these cool questions and cool comments, and I'm loving it. So this is why we do what we do. He's talking about the banner in the lobby at Madison Square Garden. It's got a bad date on it. We see that from time to time. What city were we in where they had, I want to say it was in
Illinois.
And
it was at whatever that salsa looking building was.
Yeah.
Carbondale? Champaign. We get those two mixed up. It's either Champaign or Carbondale.
Yeah. One of those, they have a banner outside the building. And after we got done documenting the building, we came out and we were walking around. And we're also very proud of the fact that just about every building that we've documented over the years, there's either a plaque, a painting. We've seen banners. We've seen in Syracuse, they had a mural on the door of Elvis's performance there in '76. So like all these buildings have this stuff, and we see this stuff all the time. I found it funny when we went to that one in Illinois where we came around the corner and they had it. It was like a picture of him in '73 doing a concert, and it said, it was like they were saying this was the photo from that show, and it's like that was wrong. But at least they put the stuff up. And then the one that gets me is I call it the Hilton, but at the hotel in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He's checked out on me. He's not even looking at me.
Trying to catch the comments.
Where they have the wrong information on the thing. Appearing here, J.D. Sumner. 19. The opening show 1969. J.D. Sumner and the Stamps. Well, that J.D. Sumner hadn't even joined them yet. So it's little stuff like that just irritates me.
All right. Yeah, but I think the last time we were in Madison Square Garden, I think in like 2016, 2017. And I think what they've done, at least when we were there, they probably have changed it. But there was big columns in the lobby, and they were like square columns. So on every single side up high, there was like a massive picture of these artists that had performed there. And they just had a big picture of Elvis. I don't think there was dates or anything, but I do remember the big pictures. They've probably changed that since then.
There's a lot of places that have this stuff, like Hampton Coliseum. We're proud to say that in Hampton Coliseum, there's a big plaque in the lobby there commemorating Elvis's performance. Richmond, I pray that they got that plaque out of Richmond, because that place is, you can't even get in there. So
yeah, a lot of those plaques were donated by fan clubs of that city. So all right, so let's see if we can catch up on these comments real quick.
Well, Duluth has that painting. Remember when we went around the corridor there? They had a big painting of him. So our guy is definitely he's definitely honored across the country, even to this day. That those things were put up, and they're still there.
So somebody said, when all the Elvis people have passed, do you think Elvis Week will continue? I definitely do. When we go down to Elvis Week, especially with the Elvis movie, there's just this whole new generation of Elvis fans, like my generation, that I definitely think there's going to be a big following of us that are going to, carry it on, and that we're going to pass it down to our kids. And I think Elvis is going to stay around for decades. And I think it's going to be people like me, like in my generation, a lot of people, that were born after he died, that are going to just carry on his legacy.
There's no doubt that as long as people are walking on planet Earth, that they're going to be playing Elvis's songs.
See you at Marlowe's. Yeah, love going to Marlowe's. Best fried chicken tenders ever. I always love going there. You'll always, during Elvis Week, there is always busy. During dinner time, you'll meet so many great people, Elvis fans that you'll become friends with. You have a great chance of running into somebody in the Elvis world that was a part of Elvis's life, and a lot of them are open to meet and greets and just saying hi and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the video that I'll give like tips and tricks on, it's stuff that I've learned from other people, and that I've done myself, that I'll give you guys. So, and places to visit and all that stuff, because you got the little circle, the little bubble around Graceland, but there's so many locations in Memphis that a lot of people don't know about, and so we'll try to share a lot of that closer to Elvis Week. So when we do, we'll post that, so be on the lookout.
The one that always gets me that I'm surprised is, the footage of Elvis arriving with the guys at the Karate Institute, the Tennessee Karate Institute, and he pulls in, and he walks up that staircase, and then comes in with Linda and the rest of the guys. That place is still there. We've been going there for years, and it's like you just say to people, "Hey, have you ever gone there?" And they go, "Where is it? Does it still exist?" And you go, "Yeah, man, you can look. You can go in the door. It's the same door. It's actually, because we've looked, and compared it. It's the same door. It's even the same handrail that leads up those stairs." We've got pictures. We wanted to do a video on that at some point. I think we still will. But remember when we went into the Karate Institute, and it still got the like the air handlers, and it's still got the name on it, and you can see it. And when they're filming Elvis walk in there, you can see those things over in the corner, and they're still sitting there.
Yeah, when we went, I think in 2017, it was a guy that was living there.
Mhm.
Like it was an apartment, like he
Mhm.
was living there. And I think the last couple of years they like
It's back to
like a karate.
well, it's back to the Tennessee Karate Institute.
Yeah. So I don't know what it looks like now, but yeah, we'll post all that. All right, let's see if we can catch up on these comments. We'd love to send you a newspaper article. Where should I send? So if you guys want to send us like article, whatever you want to send us, you guys can email us elvisbackontour@gmail.com. That's the best way, better for a quick response. You guys can email us at elvisbackontour@gmail.com.
Yeah, please do. Don't wait for these things. Communicate with us, like on that address that he just gave you. Please communicate any questions, anything you want to tell us, anything you want to share with us. If you saw Elvis in concert, let us know that information as well. If you saw Elvis in concert, especially out, like I said, we still got the West Coast. If you saw him out there, and we're headed that way, maybe we could set up some sort of like an interview with you about the experience at the concert, and we can fit that in too.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the people that are saying, I see a lot of people on here that are commenting about the Estelle Brown video. We thank you for that. That was one of our special ones. We really enjoyed that. And some people are saying, like I'm sure there's some people on there that may not know, like, why are they talking about videos? What do they mean? Because we're not just Instagram and we're not just this, but we're also we have a YouTube channel.
That's what this is what it's streaming on.
Oh, it's on streaming on this.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, all those videos are on there from all the places that we've been. So please go on there and check it out and let your friends know that we're on there doing that.
And I will say, we get a lot, which I understand, but we get a lot of comments where it's like, hey, have you guys been to this city? And it's a city that was one of our first videos. So what I recommend to people is go onto our YouTube. Even if you're subscribed and you've been a follower for a while, you might not know. If you go to our YouTube channel and click videos and then click oldest, it'll start with our oldest videos going to our newest videos. And just scroll through there in order, and you'll see all these cities that we've been to, because there's probably a city you don't know that we've been to, and we have a video on it. So just make sure you subscribe and click the little bell notification so you're notified when we post a video, and just check out all the videos that we posted, because I guarantee you there's a lot of cities we've been to and put a video up that you might not have seen. So be sure to check those out. Let's see, is Al Lansky still in the Peabody? I think in 2019 we went and visited. There is a Lansky Brothers store in the Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the original location. I think that's where the Hard Rock Cafe is.
Right, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So the original, well, there's been multiple Peabody clothing store or Lansky stores, but the original was at the Hard Rock Cafe, and
next to it.
Yeah, right in that little plaza, and they have one at the Peabody. So we met Mr. Lansky in 2019, and he was very, very nice. So be sure to go there if you guys are there in Elvis during Elvis week. Let's see. Still got my Elvis on Tour movie poster from back in the day. How much do you think it would? Depends on condition. We have our original Elvis on Tour movie poster on the wall behind the camera. But about a year ago, prior to that, we were in a different room, and we finally converted this room into our studio. So our walls are covered in albums and pictures and all that stuff.
Wish you guys could see. I don't know how we could ever do it from over there, but I wish you guys could see what we have over there.
We've mentioned when we did our first video here that we were going to do like a room tour. We still should do that, because you guys only ever see this corner and it's always the same, but you guys have never seen the other 80.
Well, that's why I brought Charlie down tonight, because he usually sits up there, and this was one of the hound dogs used at the summer festival in '72 in Vegas, and these were the dogs that Elvis would chuck out into the crowd. And Could you imagine that hitting it? Somebody misses and it hits a dinner plate.
I mean, that's a heavy dog
It is a heavy
because it's weighted at the bottom, so it's not just a light stuff.
Well, he just ate.
Uh-huh. All right. Sorry, we're falling behind on these comments. We're like 11 minutes behind.
I'm excited about this because this is when I told you that I wanted to start doing these diner things where everybody just comes in and starts talking. This is exactly, there's a lot of people in here and there's a lot of people just giving their opinions and just opening up discussions and asking questions. And again, it's not always just asking us questions. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to hear, we want the dialogue to go both ways. So,
yeah, so many 70s concert photos out there, but they always use like pictures of him when he didn't look the best. I've noticed that a lot of like documentaries or news articles online, they'll use, because it's the same photos that I guess are in like the public domain that they use, and it's always ones where he doesn't look his best. I have noticed that.
Rick said the Madison Square Garden banner had a date of February 14th, 1972. How do you get that wrong? It's your building. I mean,
Yeah.
Come on.
Patty, thanks for the comment. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to our page. We'd really appreciate it. And there's a little bell notification that if you click that, you'll be notified when we post a new video and all that.
Patty is our good buddy from Ireland. Always love to see Patty on here.
You guys were able to go to the Memphian last year. That's cool. I think, isn't that right next to the Karate Institute? Or is that a different? No, that's right in downtown Memphis, right? I'm thinking of someplace else. Are you planning any trips to visit any other concert venues this year? Yeah, we got a couple planned.
We're going to share a little bit of that here in a little bit.
Man, I'm seeing comments from quite a while ago. All right, send the article to our email. We'd really appreciate that. All right, I think we've caught up to all of the.
You were getting ready to say caught up.
Yeah, I do say that. No, but yeah, we have caught up to all the comments. So if you guys have any questions, we'll see them now.
Well, don't feel bad because a little while ago I got stuck on when I wanted to say gratitude, I was going to say latitude. We owe guys like that a great debt of latitude. And I have poor choice of words there. So I'm human.
Yeah, we all are. Do you guys get many comments from people in your home area about what you do? Like friends, I guess, like friends and family.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier about people that I work with. They've become Elvis fans. That's why I named that series that I'm working on. Help a friend become an Elvis fan, and I mean that because there are people, again, like I say, that see what we do and they go, man, that's really cool, and kind of why do you do that? And I said, this guy's just meant a lot to me over the years, and when I was a kid, anybody that's heard my story, the guy kind of bailed me out of some hard times as far as having somebody to kind of listen to, and he was kind of like, I don't know really how you describe that, but it was kind of like, you go in and put that LP on and listen to, and it just made you feel good, and it just really brought me out of the dumps a lot of times, and so I kind of just really, the guy became like a hero to me, and I thought, and not a god. I want to make that perfectly clear because I say this just about every time we go on here. Elvis, I think it made Elvis ashamed when people would say he's a god, and I don't think that he liked that. I don't think he wanted to be referred to as that, and I never looked at him as that, but I sure did look at him as a hero. And a lot of guys back in my day, like Batman and Superman and stuff like that, and my guy was Elvis, and he even had the cape. So yeah, that's kind of why I do what I do, is I get with my friends and say, hey, check out this guy's music. And the next thing you know, they're listening to it in their cars. So it's working.
All right. So I'm going to sit back and relax because I know Dad can talk for quite a while on this next question because he has in the past. But somebody was saying, do you think Elvis got his sound right on the last tour? Go ahead. Because he like, because we, go ahead.
Define that quote. First we got to define that quote.
Do you think Elvis got his sound right on last tour? So I'm assuming, I guess what we usually talk about is his vocals.
David, is that what you? David, just kick in there one more time on that and tell me, is that what are you referring to his vocals?
And while we wait for that, it's been almost 48 years since I went down to Seattle from Vancouver and stood in line all night in downtown Seattle to get tickets because the Dave will never understand. Yeah, I will never understand that, but you know, my generation, like I just bought tickets to go to an event and just walked right in. And you can buy them online, but I'd prefer to go to the box office because then I don't have to pay for the online fees.
Remember all the pictures we have of the different buildings where it's wrapped around the building.
If you visit the mausoleum forest lawn where Elvis was originally laid to rest, Aunt Delta's grave is a short walk away right on the edge of the asphalt car path.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever visited her grave.
Not her grave.
And
we visited where his mom was originally buried.
Yeah, we went, I think it was 2021 or one of those years. We went to Memphis twice, in April and in August. And in April, when we went, that was a total like go there. We were going all around Memphis, just posting all these videos, going to all these different locations. And it was on our Instagram that we put these videos up. And we went to his mom's original grave. We didn't do a video there. We've been to a couple cemeteries like Elvis's grandfather in Louisville, where he's buried and all that, but we never usually.
Yeah,
we don't do videos in the cemetery.
Just out of respect for the folks, you know.
But the reason I bring that up is because I think when we were there in April, we went to visit there. But I think I've seen, and I might be wrong, but I think I've seen somebody post about their working on the mausoleum building right now, because I remember the last time we went there, it was actually locked. But the last time that we were inside, there was just stuff falling from the ceiling inside. It was just falling apart. So I think I saw somebody post about something a couple weeks ago that they're actually working on renovating it and fixing it up. So I don't know if it'll be open in August when we go for Elvis Week and, you know, redone and everything, but that is a really cool place.
Couple things on that. I remember when I went down there with my mom in the 70s, that was a very nice cemetery. I mean, as cemeteries go, you know, very nice. And over the years that we've been going down there, when I took you down there the first time to show you where he was originally placed after he died, it had gone downhill a great deal. And that was actually a pretty scary situation when we were in there, remember, because it just you didn't feel comfortable in there. And yeah, so it's definitely gone downhill. But I will say that when he was originally placed there, it was a nice, you know, place, nice building. The mausoleum was a nice structure. Not now.
I remember one time I went there a few years ago when it was still open. We were walking around, you know, getting like pictures of the outside of the mausoleum, and we walk around the corner and there was just a German Shepherd just sitting on the steps, and we didn't know if it was like a wild dog or something, and so we slowly backed away, and we were like, what's our escape route if it starts chasing us? But it was just a dog head.
Let's get back to, we asked him to give us
I haven't seen the follow-up part of that. Yeah, he hasn't followed up with if it was like the sound or if it was his voice. That's All Right from Elvis in Concert 77 is my favorite live version. If you actually listen, well, I totally agree, but I like the version from the Spring Tours 77 FTD album of That's All Right. And it was recorded in Norman, Oklahoma. If you go on to our Norman, Oklahoma video, I think that's the version we use because that's where it was recorded. So I think that's the song that we used. Or I didn't mean version. I think that's a song that was recorded there that we used for that video. So check out our Norman, Oklahoma video.
Talking about Norman. He was talking about the University of Oklahoma. That was really nice building.
That was an interesting one because it was when you walked in, like you were on the ground level, and then you walked in, and when you got to the seats, you were at the last row at the top because the building like goes downwards. So it's like you're up here on like the ground level, but then like the stage ground level is like way down there. So you're like looking down when you walk in the front doors. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of these buildings we come in, a lot of buildings he performed in, you come in on that main concourse and then you
Look up,
go up.
but that when you walked in, it was you looked down.
I'll tell you, a lot of people ask us about these different buildings over that we've been in, over 100 of them across the country. And I'll tell you, the one that was historical wise, St. John Arena, when we went there and we went up in those seats, that I'm telling you, if for anybody that's ever been in that building can testify to this, that was, you fall, you trip coming down there with your popcorn, man, and you were taking a ride that you don't want. So, but yeah, that was
that in Kemper Arena in Kansas City was pretty big. That Kemper Arena, that was just a really, really big building. And the last, like the top row, like up in the nosebleed section, it was, you have to watch the video because that building's gone under big changes and it'd be confusing to tell you. So if you check out our video on the Kemper Arena, Kansas City, we go into some detail on how that building changed. But if you were up in the nosebleed section, Elvis was like that big because it was just so high up.
He performed there June 18th of 77. That was last time in there on that last tour. And we got a seat. We still have them. And we had to go back out to get them because we were in a plane, so there was nowhere to put them. So we went back out there. So we are crazy when it comes to that kind of stuff. If we get any kind of memento, if you will, from the building, we will go back and get it.
Yeah. All right. So to start wrapping up this last,
this has been fun. Why do you want to wrap it up? This is
I
good.
do see that we're having a little bit of connection issues, so I want to make sure that we don't, say anything important and people can't hear us. But yeah, the video in its entirety will be posted on our YouTube channel when we're done, so you guys can watch it beginning to end. And I believe if you watch it and you go to the live comment section, you can see the questions that we're answering in the comment section. So Seattle Coliseum is the same way. Yeah. Well, there's only a couple buildings that we've been in where it's like you walk on the ground level and it goes downwards. So that is kind of interesting.
Let's just assume, I hate doing it, but let's assume that when they're talking about the sound, they're talking about his voice. I've always said, and if you go back and look at my interview that I did with Estelle when we were in Shreveport at the building where they performed, I made a point to ask her, as I've asked everybody that ever worked with him on tour. I said, have always been under the impression that Elvis's voice got better in the end than it was earlier. He had great voice throughout his entire career. When he was, just starting off, his voice fit the bill for exactly what it needed to do at the time because he wasn't singing, he needed to be a rock and roll guy. But then as he moved on and he got a little bit older, his style changed a little bit. But I'm telling you, by 77, and everybody that I've ever asked that worked with him and watched him change through the years, they've all agreed with me. They said, "Yep, you're absolutely right." His voice mellowed and it aged and it got I just think a whole lot better.
Yeah, I'm seeing on our playback that we're kind of skipping a little bit, so I don't want the video to be a little weird. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions or want to reach out to us, you can email us, elvisbackontour@gmail.com. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram, and on Facebook. Our page is EP Back on Tour. There was an issue with Facebook about a year ago, so our page name is EP Back on Tour. And we have a trip coming up soon. We don't want to share any details about that because we always like to surprise you guys. But we'll keep you updated when that happens. If you want to stay the most up to date with us, follow us on Instagram. We post the most on there. And yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, this trip coming up is we get excited about every trip we take with this stuff, but we've got 2 venues coming up and 2 different cities, and we're very excited about the people that are going to be a part of that. So, like Michael said, we never share that because we want to keep it a secret so that it's a surprise to you guys. So we're still in the planning modes of that. Still trying to wrap everything up with that, and we will let you know just before we go, and then hopefully you guys will follow us because we'll definitely do lives from there, and keep you updated while we're there.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are just joining us, please go back and take a look at the earlier part of this video for some stuff that we talked about earlier. I can't stress enough. It's been so exciting being on here with you guys because this is exactly why we set this up, is to come on here and hear different opinions and hear what you guys have to say. And, just the reason we do what we do is to, just do what we can to preserve Elvis's legacy and to promote it. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, like I said, we'll post this video when we're done. It'll be the full live stream on our page. You can go to our page and click the lives tab, and that'll show you all the live streams that we've done. This is episode 7. You can see 1 through 6. And also check out our George Hill videos that we just put up. The first part was our tour of the Mobile Civic Center with him and the history of the building. And the second part was just a sit down talk with him about his time going to those shows. Elvis did 7 shows in the 70s at the Mobile Civic Center, and George was at every single one of them. So be sure to check that out. And like I said, if you follow us on our Instagram, you can see us most up to date when we go on our trip, and you guys can follow along with us. And other than that, that is pretty much it. Thank you guys for joining. We hope you guys had a great time. And if you want to contact us, you can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, or email us at elvisbackontour@gmail.com. So hopefully you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.